There he is. Good job, T-Wood. How are you feeling? You look a little hurt. You're limping.
Yeah, I just kicked the elbow.
That's not smart, my
See, I
friend.
should have just took the first kick that landed and just ran with it. I tried to go again. Elbow got in the way.
Hey, do you feel that it should not have been a split decision?
I don't see where he won 2 rounds. I mean, I thought it was 29-28. The first round was kind of close. It was kind of filling out, so I could have seen if somebody might have said he might have won that one, but I thought the last 2 rounds I won. 30-27 I can see. But I've been on a split decisions before, and it's been like your heart's pumping. This one I kind of just felt like I won.
Yeah.
But
you know, I thought you did something really interesting afterwards where you said you didn't want to take the penalty money.
yeah.
Why not?
You know, I think that I just remember when I lost my first fight, and I remember I never go in the octagon or the cage or whatever the hell I'm fighting in, and I never think about the show money and the win money are all one to me. So when I go out there and I lost, it like knocked the wind out of me for a second. I just realized what I left in the cage, and it kind of shook me for a couple of days because I was kind of, you know, running the gym and all my money was going into that, and I started thinking how I felt. Lost for the first time, didn't get all my money, and I'm like, this kid's already won, embarrassed his team, probably yelled at by his coaches, himself, the UFC, and then on top of that, he didn't win, so he got his first loss, and he didn't get his win bonus. So I'm like, how much is that going to change my life? And I know what he's making, obviously, because they told me the percentage. I'm like, I can't do it. You know, it'll come back around to me down the road. So it ain't going to take no cheese out of my macaroni. We're doing well, we blessed, and I think he'll appreciate it.
Nice. Do you think that this win, you know, gets you a title shot? Where does it put you?
I'm always right there.
Yeah.
I'm always, whether they talking about it or whether they pushing me with somebody that's near it, I'm always there. I'm gonna be there for the rest of my career. I'll always be in that cusp with the title shot, if not the champion. So for me, I just had fun, and it was the first fight in my career that I had fun. I was just out there. We were having conversations.
What were you saying?
I was like, nope. I was like, nope. I was like, it was close. I was like, oh, you got me on that one because he stole me a couple times.
Yeah.
And then, you know, he was having fun too. I mean, I think he knew he lost, but it's just sometimes you got these expectations that I'm supposed to always do something crazy and supernatural and dart across the cage and knock somebody's head off. It was good for me to use lateral motion, use head motion, be relaxed, breathe, and, you know, go out there and show people that I don't need to always knock somebody out. All my finishes in the UFC have been, all my wins in the UFC have been by finish. So I need to show people that the decisions I can win as well.
Well, it was interesting because I was saying to Megan, actually, we were sitting there watching it together, and we were like, this isn't what I expected. Yeah, and I guess maybe that's it. I expected you to come out blazing.
What do you think he expected?
Yeah, well, he came.
He expected the same thing.
Look at you turning it around.
Yeah, he expected the same thing, and I also expected him to try to take me down.
Yeah.
So we both surprised each other. So I thought it was a good fight. I felt good about the performance. I felt good just showing people that I can go out there in 3 rounds and I can do what everybody else is doing.
Yeah.
I don't have to go 3,000 miles per hour so I can beat someone. Oh, you look tired. His stomach poking out. So I had fun, and I'm satisfied with tonight.
Cool. Congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
See you later. Hey, okay, so we're talking to Evie now. Evie, come here. Sorry about that. So you guys know, I almost said, vocês conhecem a Evie. So Evie and I, we were sitting together the last time we saw Anderson fight. So you and I were both kind of bugging out tonight. How are you feeling when you were sitting there? And I should say, Evie is a big part. So you're like the most famous Brazilian media here, aren't you?
No.
You and Anna are the top dog.
No, come on.
You are.
Come on.
She's humble. But how did you feel? Because it was kind of a weird fight.
It was a weird fight, I think, and at the same time, I think, I don't know, it was a really emotional fight, right? You see him like coming back after 13 months, you know, and we were here. It was the same city, the same octagon, you know. So, and you see Nick Diaz there, and he's kind of, I don't know, he represents a little bit of Anderson too, you know, like the attitude inside the octagon and things that he was saying and doing. I was kind of having a lot of deja vus inside, you know, like watching that fight. What did you think of that? Like,
yeah, it was strange because, you know, you could tell it took Anderson a little time to feel comfortable. But then even when he felt comfortable and he was kind of the old Anderson, he still seemed much more focused. And you're thinking that, yeah, maybe he was trying to be cautious?
I think so, because like if you look for the fight against Chris Weidman, you know, like that, I think that when he kicked was more like Weidman started kicking, and then he was start to showing him like how to do it, and then like he broke the leg. So it's more like I think he was kind of trying to be focused, and also like how I'm gonna do to not let him get to my mind, because usually he's the one who does that, you know.
Right.
He's the one who like acts a little weird and tries to break the opponent inside the octagon to kind of knock the opponent out or things like that. So what I think that happened is like he was trying to be cautious and like, okay, I've been away from this for 13 months. It was a very emotional walking to the arena as well. He was really emotional at the weigh-ins, you know. It's more like, I think he was kind of realizing like that he's kind of, you know, overcoming something. We were just joking, like saying, oh, it looks like Rocky Balboa or something, you know, like something like that. So that's how I felt.
Yeah, it was very emotional when he came out. I was telling Evie, I have this really cool Samsung watch thingy that, you know, tracks your pedometer and all that. Anyway, it has a heart rate monitor on it, and I was like, I just want to see what happens. So it was, you know, baseline. I don't know, forget what it was. So Nick comes out. I was like, hit this thing, 82, right? So it went up to 82 beats per minute. I was like, all right, oh my God. Here comes Nick. I hear the beginning of Ain't No Sunshine. I was like, oh my God. I hit it again, it had gone up to 93. So I was like, I was bugging, and that's me just sitting there. My voice is a little rough too, I'm sorry. But, you know, it was, you and I both too, we know, like, and I'm sure everybody did this, when he threw a kick, the first time didn't your heart just stop?
Yeah, but we watched him like training and everything. We
but
are
still,
kind of
even if you've seen that,
yeah, but like when he was there, I was like, it's for real now, you know. And he was not really kicking that much at the beginning. He was not using the leg, and I think Nick Diaz was kind of waiting on that too. So when he finally used the leg, we were like, okay, like, and he was kind of throwing more to show him that was okay, you know, that he was like not avoiding to use the leg. He was just like playing himself. But I was kind of like having a hard time trying to, you know, to be like, okay, I have to be calm here, I have to ride, I have to think about whatever I'm doing right now, you know. But I don't know, it's just.
Well, it was weird, but too, because part of it was funny sometimes. Like when Nick laying down, Nick stopped in the second round to pick a wedgie. There's Big Nog. I don't know, it was just odd. It was odd. And it was interesting too, because after the fight, he went right over to him. Obviously, they're so close and emotional. Did you spend any time with Nogueira before?
Not today, because he was working, but yeah, yesterday he was saying that, you know, he never felt Anderson so focused. And I think what he meant yesterday, we could see today, you know. It's more like Anderson trying to show, because can you imagine like how crazy it is, like the pressure on his like shoulders, you know, coming to this fight and having like the whole Brazil like rooting for him and trying to wait to see like what's gonna happen, like is he gonna be the old Anderson, like he's gonna do it again, he's gonna kick or whatever he's gonna do. So everybody was really paying attention to him, even Nick Diaz, you know, like we didn't know what he was going to show. So I think Big Nog was kind of talking about that yesterday and how emotional they were and how close they are right now. I think Anderson kind of, he has he's really close to his team, right? And I think during all this training from this past like 13 months, he kind of developed even more like this relationship, you know. He has new friends, some old friends that stick with him, but you know, some old friends are gone as well. So you know, like it's kind of that situation when you have to prove that you still have a friend or something like that. I think is what happened. And at the same time, we have Anderson's family, right, telling him like, stop, we don't want you to fight anymore. So, you know, it's just like a really tough situation for him, I think.
Do you think he's going to keep going?
I think so. It's kind of hard when you finish the fight, you know. I think he's probably going to watch again. He needs to spend some time with his family. He still has to shoot like tough, right?
Yes, right.
So that starts in 2 days, I guess, here in Vegas. It's going to be a crazy timing, and he's always complaining that he wants to have more time with his family. So I don't know really how he's going to do that, but I think he's going to be back soon.
Yeah. Well, we know, Shogun's already here, and he was already training some of the guys the other day and stuff. One thing, too, that I was curious about, you know, obviously he's a big deal, but in Brazil, how big a deal is like. We were saying the other day that we're down in his gym in Torrance, and you're just hanging out, and you get to the point, he's just it's cool. Hey, we're just chilling with Anderson, and it's all cool. And when you put it in perspective of another sport, maybe it's like, oh, I was just hanging out with Michael Jordan, or you know what I mean. So you kind of lose that. So how big a deal is he at home? You know what I mean? How focused was the country and the fans on him coming back?
It's like Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
You said it right. Like he's really like whatever. People watch the sport because of him, so today was a really big deal. You have a lot of people from Brazil, like a lot of journalists who came here to watch this fight, and it's just because of him, We had 9 Brazilians in this card, so we had a lot of other fighters, but the main attention was it was everything about him, And I think probably that's why he's gonna be the next coach on Tough as well, because everybody wants to see like this is history that is pretty. This is a story that is pretty cool, right? Like he's just the guy who broke his leg like 13 months ago, and is just like back fighting and using his leg like normal, and his recovery was really awesome.
I think it's incredible, even though Shogun's lost a couple of fights. Like either one of those teams you're on, you're like you hit the gold mine, the jackpot, whatever. We're in Vegas, it's a jackpot. They both have so much knowledge to share. I don't know. I think it's gonna be cool.
I don't know. Like I just. It's weird seeing both of them, because Nick Diaz also didn't fight for a long time. Yeah. He was also saying inside the octagon that he thought that he won every round.
I love Nick, but I don't think he won every round.
I think his face shows that, Yeah.
I know, but it was like, but what I loved is that Nick really tried to, make it entertaining. And that's kind of the same thing how we were saying with Anderson. Like when you see him get his groove, if Nick doesn't act like that, something's wrong. So, it's like I expected it, but it was even almost more over the top than I expected. And literally at some point I was sitting there like, what am I seeing? Like I don't understand what is happening.
But I don't know. I think if his comeback was against somebody different with a different profile, probably would be a lot different. It's more like, I don't know. He was facing a kind of himself a little bit. He was always saying like, oh, I want to fight my clone. Remember?
Right? Yeah.
Was kind of that a little bit. I'm not talking only about skills. I'm talking about like his personality. He's mentally stronger. And he said that inside the octagon too. There was a really difficult fight for him because of Nick. You know that you can't break Nick Diaz mentally, right? So I think that's why.
So did you talk to John Lineker at all this week after weigh-ins at all? Did you talk to him?
And I spoke to his manager.
So what did Alex say?
He was kind of upset at that time, because of whatever happened.
Oh, here we go. We'll hear from John.
All right. Sorry to keep you guys waiting. And Anderson and hey, buddy, Anderson and Nick are going to be a while longer too. The attendance tonight was 13,114. We did a gate of 4.5 million. The fight of the night was Latis and Bosch. Performance of the night, Alves and Latis. So, where's Talis? Yeah, 100,000. Congratulations. Face feels better now, doesn't it? Who's got the first question? Kev?
Hey, Dana. First of all, can you evaluate both your impression of Nick and Anderson tonight, and especially in the case of Anderson, first fight back, what your thought was?
Yeah, so, obviously it's not the fight that I expected it to be. I thought there would be, first of all, I thought there'd be a lot more punches. Nick Diaz alone is usually a guy who will stalk you down, taunt you, and throw hundreds of punches. And Anderson Silva usually throws punches, kicks, knees, Anderson came back from this injury, and I said going into this fight, I bet it's going to be a very mentally tough for him to go in and perform. I think that if he was just trying to get the 5 rounds, or I don't know. I wasn't in there fighting, but I just expected a lot more output.
Didn't see you looked over in the 5th round.
I get weird, man. I'm weird. I'm weird at these things. I left the Conor McGregor fight too. I didn't watch that one either.
Was it unhappy, or you were just nervous?
I'm gonna have a heart attack one of these days. I think I'm gonna have a heart attack, and sometimes I just like to go watch it in the back.
And this, I know you don't like to talk about future fights, and I'm not asking a specific fight, but just what do you do with Nick Diaz right now? He's lost 3 fights in a row. Obviously, the crowd, cheers for him and everything, but he's lost 3 in a row in the St. Pierre fight. 2 of the 3, all 3 judges had it, 5-0 tonight. 2 of the 3 had it 5-0. What do you do with him, given the fact that he has popularity, but he only wants big fights, and then you have the record that he has?
Right. I don't think it's about what I think is going to happen with Nick. It's what's Nick Diaz going to do next. You know what I mean? Who knows? Who knows what Nick's going to do? Nick made a lot of money tonight. You might not see him for 3 years this time.
How long is his contract? You signed him into a new deal in July, right? When you brought him back, didn't you? When you announced?
I think so. Yeah, I don't remember exactly where he is, but I think so. I think we just signed him to a new deal.
Okay. And then when the Seahawks win tomorrow, how much are you going to use
Yeah, you and Misha are going to be crying some big crocodile tears on Sunday night there, buddy.
And then, if I could ask Tyron Woodley a question. Tyron, you made that comment in the ring about giving the bonus. You didn't want the bonus money, but I understand the money was already in your check. So, like, how do you do that since you already got it?
Well, it wasn't really a bonus money. It was a penalty.
I mean the penalty
from the commission. And it's 2015. I think we'll find a way. When they told me originally, I was pissed off. I've said some words that Dana and a million other people probably have never heard me say. I'm pretty quiet. But sometimes when things are just principle to me really kind of bites me really hard. And it's just tough going through a training camp, especially for me. I changed a lot of things in my life. I'm not a small welterweight myself. I'm a big guy for the welterweight division. So for me to be able to monitor that, make those lifestyle changes, and take it as a professional, I was just kind of a little annoyed. And a lot of it had to do with weight cutting. And, I just read something on my phone. Someone sent me a message. And I just shook these guys' hands and said, all right, I came to fight, let's fight. And I left out. And that was all they needed. And I just kind of swept it under the rug. The kid lost, had his first loss. He's not going to get his win bonus. Dana White's probably yelled at him. His coaches probably yelled at him. He's probably pissed off by himself. So I just can't find it in my heart to do that right now. But I got the win. I had a good performance, and I feel good about it.
Dana, it looked like you got some breaking news there from Mr. Charlotte.
Yeah, Nick's not going to be here. Nick's eye's bad. He's got a lot of stitching to do. He's not going to make it.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you for that update. Obviously, kind of a weird night all the way around. Started out with losing a fight early on. Jimmy Hedges, we understand that he's been released from the hospital. Do you have any update on his condition? What happened?
Yeah, no, he's okay. He was backstage, and they're back there getting ready and warming up, and he fainted. And apparently, when he fainted, he was out for 10 seconds. I don't know how they know 10 seconds. They gave him the 10 count or what, but they said about 10 seconds. The doctor evaluated him and said he was okay to fight, and the commission said, yeah, we're not going to let him fight, which I agree with 100%. It's not worth it. We'll pay the kid. And
I was going to ask you about your pay decisions. What did you decide to do on that? Give him show money, and how about Diego?
They both got their show money, yeah.
Both got show money.
Yep.
And ask you as well about Kelvin Gastelum. Obviously, some reports came out today that his coach said he passed out as well yesterday. Can you walk us through what happened with Kelvin Gastelum and why he was allowed to fight?
So I didn't know if he passed out or not, but he was definitely having a hard cut. They took him to the hospital, and he was definitely in a bad way yesterday. So even after Tyrone said he'd accept the fight with him 10 pounds over, we didn't know if Gastelum was going to fight last night. We didn't know till today. So they obviously let him get some fluids, rest, sleep. He woke up today. They reevaluated him and said he was okay to fight. And when I talked to him, tonight when he got here to the arena, he was a completely different person than he was yesterday, as you can imagine. So.
Is there? We add in, John's missing weight as well. It's just kind of a weird week all the way around. I mean, is there something a message that guys need to get or understand? I mean, the whole weight cutting process, guys passing out in the back. Is there something that people need to be paying attention to? I
mean, if you look at how many fights we do, we do a ton of fights. This is definitely one of the weirdest weeks ever. These kind of things are very rare. But yeah, I think the guys do need to figure out. I mean, listen, look at this guy. There's no way that he can't make that weight. He should be able to make that weight at his size. Well, he's not going to have the opportunity to make that weight again. He's going to have to move up. And he just beat the number 3 guy in the world tonight and did it impressively. So it's unfortunate,
And last question now for you, Dana. Obviously, we couldn't help but notice John Jones cage side tonight. Any progress on that fight? I think you had told people earlier this week that Jones and Rumble might take place in May. Was there any progress made?
Yeah, that fight is not done yet.
Fantastic, thank you, John. If we could just get your thoughts on. Well, let me ask you first. You're in a wheelchair, I guess. Can you tell us, what's going on with the leg?
Você está na cadeira de rodas. O que aconteceu com você?
Então, ali foi um chute que eu dei na perna dele no primeiro round e acabou pegando pegou a parte superior em cima do meu pé ali e acabou machucando.
In the first round, he kicked to hit the knee and hurt the top of his foot.
And fantastic performance, obviously, after missing weight. But I have to ask you, there was a gesture at the end where it looked like you were making kind of a gesture at your belly. I know he'd called you fat, but I don't know. It seems like kind of a disrespectful thing to do when you miss weight by as much as you did. So can you say why you did that? And you have any regret, maybe that you made that gesture?
Foi uma luta fantástica, boa performance, mas ali no final você botou a mão na barriga, entendeu? Parecia meio desrespeitoso. Por que você fez isso?
Então, primeiramente, pedi desculpa, mas foi uma montagem que ele fez de mim no Twitter. Eu acabei vendo, ele colocou um piá gordinho, bem gordo, assim, minha cabeça ali. Eu mostrei para ele que eu não sou gordo e eu fui ali para bater nele. E foi o que eu fiz.
Well, I'm sorry about that. I mean, maybe people didn't know. He posted on Twitter a fat baby with my face on it, and I just wanted to kind of get that back to him.
Okay, fair enough. And I guess last question I have for you. I guess you're okay. You understand. You're definitely moving to bantamweight. Is there a name that makes sense for you, or are you thinking about what you can do at 135 pounds?
Bom, agora você vai subir para 135. Tem algum nome que você pensa em lutar? Ou você tem alguma declaração a fazer sobre isso?
Então, primeiramente, eu quero pedir desculpa humildemente mais uma vez aos fãs, pedir desculpa ao UFC, Dana White, Diaz, Silva, Shelby, por isso ter acontecido novamente, mas eu creio que num 3-5 eu vou fazer barulho, né? Porque eu sou lutador e subo ali para lutar, e o que vai acontecer vai ser isso. Já que esse problema que eu tenho com o peso aí, então eu vou tentar buscar o cinturão do 135.
First of all, I'd like to apologize to the UFC, to Dana White, to all my fans, to Sean, to Joe. I have some difficulty with the weight cut, and it's something I haven't figured out. I'm going to go up to 135, and I'm going to make noise there, and I'm going to go for the title there.
Fantastic. And just lastly from me, Talis, obviously congratulations, $100,000. Tell us how good it feels to be here, after the long road that you've had to get back here, and also why you chose to stand and trade with Tim Boach when it seemed like the clear path to victory was take him down and just get the fight to the ground.
First of all, it's always good to be fighting UFC, and my game plan was that, man, fight on stand, improving my stand-up game, believe in myself. It's what I've been doing since I returned to the UFC. Doesn't matter who we're gonna fight, The fight start on stand, I will do on stand, and of course, jiu-jitsu is my home, and it's exactly what I did.
Question for Dana. Can you kind of give your assessment of how Anderson looked physically? Obviously, he was coming off of an injury and sort of a mental hurdle to clear, but physically, as a 39-year-old, how did you think he was moving out there?
Looks damn good for a 39-year-old. For those of you that aren't 39 yet, let me tell you what, to go out there and do what that guy's still doing and to do what he's done to this point is it's amazing. I thought he physically looked good tonight. What he went through, that injury, and then coming back after, over a year, you knew you weren't going to see, the Anderson we remember. But getting 5 rounds in, getting a little more mentally confident, in the leg and all the other things, we'll be able to tell by his next performance. We'll know where he's there. You know how I feel about this stuff. I've said it a million times. You're 39 years old, you're 38 years old, you're out there looking like a world beater, and then one day, Father Time kicks you in the ass and you come out in one fight and you look like it's over. So I don't know. You can't judge Anderson off this performance because, I think there were a lot of other issues. But he physically looked good. He physically looked strong. He was in great shape. Made weight easy, and you saw little hints of the old Anderson when he would start to move. It was almost like he was tentative tonight. It wasn't that he didn't have it. It was that he was tentative.
So what makes sense for him next in your mind? Obviously, I know you got to think about it, but can you give us even just some options? What kind of? I honestly don't even know. What I want Anderson to do, how he is about going home and hanging out with his family. I want him to go home, hang out with his family. I'm sure, he took some, Diaz hit him with some really good leg kicks, kept chopping that same leg. I'm sure that leg is sore and everything else. Get his head clear, and then we'll see what's next. I mean, it sounded like, based on Twitter, obviously I wasn't watching the broadcast, but you were talking about the Vitor Belfort situation. Do you have a number one contender at middleweight, or is that sort of in the air right now? It sounds like you're trying to find him a fight. Is Vitor
it's
next?
Vitor. Vitor's the number one contender right now. You know, Weidman's hurt. You know, it's typical Vitor, okay? Vitor is blowing me up on the phone. I want a, interim title fight. I haven't fought. I want this fight. I want to stay on the card. I want to fight. I want to fight. So all day, obviously the day that this was happening was a rough day for me. I had a lot of stuff going on that day. So I literally, it was about 8:30 at night by the time I got to it and handled it. So what I did is I picked up the phone and I called Lyoto Machida. I said, here's the deal. The first thing Lyoto Machida said is send me the bout agreement. I called them back and they're like, yeah. We'll wait for the Chris Weidman. So, there you go.
And then, real quickly for you, Tyron, right here in front of you. On the Embedded show, it showed you and Kelvin before you went out to the weigh-in, and you said that you weren't mad at him, you were mad at the situation. I was wondering just what you meant by that. Are you mad? Do you have like a certain stance towards just weight cutting in general? Were you mad that the situation that you got put in and you had to make a hard decision to make? Can you sort of just expand what you meant by you were mad at the decision, the situation, and not Kelvin?
It just looked like he had a cinder block dropped on top of his head, and I just wanted to let him know. This is a sport to me. I don't have to hate the person to fight him to try to knock him out. That's a part of the fight game. So I just let him know that I was frustrated with the situation. And like I said before, just the principle of it. This is a business to me, and I feel like, it's a sport as well. But when you are a professional in a professional sport, you have to do professional things. And I was just frustrated at the situation because for me, I had, put everything differently in this camp. And, I felt like, I put some good things together. And weight cut my last 3 weight cuts has been tough. I was like, damn, man, I got the last 3 pounds looked like they didn't want to come off, but I always get them off no matter what. So this time it just fell off, and I was more frustrated with that. Like the one time I'm ready, I'm mentally, I can't even think of too many things that went wrong in this camp, and that's not usually, these fighters will tell you, there's all these little nagging injuries, distractions, and things that go up, but I was able to really stay focused this time, and I was just kind of pissed off. So I just want to let him know that, as a sportsman, I wasn't really pissed at him like he thought I was.
And one of the big things I think that he meant that he's not saying is yesterday when he and I were talking, I got to know if there's a fight. Are you accepting him with the 10-pound difference? And he's saying, I feel like this thing's coming down on me now. Like I'm in trouble, or you're acting like I did something wrong, which I wasn't. I'm asking him if he wants to fight or not, but he's right. He's right in that, now he has to make a decision whether he wants to fight a kid that weighs 10 pounds more than him the day of the weigh-in. Right? And everything's on the line, his position where he is and everything else. And that's one of these tough things that these guys come in and they have to pull the trigger. Did I just do this whole camp and do I not want to fight and not make money and just go home? And it's unfortunate when you've been cutting. First of all, these guys are all nasty to deal with when they're cutting weight, right? You don't want to. Last thing you want to do is invade their space or even deal with anything that has to do with business or anything when these guys are cutting weight. I don't even go near these guys when they're cutting weight. And then he's got to make the decision like that yesterday. It's a tough decision to make. I understand the position he was in, and I respect him for taking the fight.
And last question for you, Tyron. You've been a guy who's texted Dana White before and asked him for things. It seems like you've done, you took a fight on short notice, and now you took a fight against a guy who missed weight. Do you have any requests right now, or are you sort of just whatever the company decides?
I think that's a soundbite. I think every fighter hears somebody say, I do whatever the company wants me to do, and it sounds good, and they say it. I think what's best for my career, I had my eyes too big looking at the belt when I fought Rory McDonald, and now I'm just looking at beating consistently top 10 guys. I don't know if that's the 5th or 6th top 10 guy I beat in my career, and, your task in front of you is your most important task. If you don't take care of that task, none of the things in the future is going to happen. I'm the number 3 welterweight in the world. I'm always going to be in the talks of a title, and it's a lot of major bouts coming up. I'll be in shape. I didn't get hit up too bad today, so I'll be ready, and if something happens where I got to step in that fight. So for me, I'm just focusing on being a better fighter, bringing more out in the cage, and just really just consistently beating top-level guys. Because it's not like I'm went out there and fought the number 30th guy in the world. That was the number 7th guy in the world who just steamrolled 2 or 3 guys. So for me, it's just being consistent and, staying true to myself.
So I'm going to take a couple more questions here. And then what's going to happen is Anderson Silva's running late. I'm going to let these guys go. And those of you that want to hang for Anderson, he should be here in another 15 minutes.
Dana, have your guys given you any more information on a Weidman timeline as to when he'll be able to fight again?
No, it's one of these, it's a rib injury. So it's one of those things, and I don't think it's a broken or fractured rib. It's like the cartilage or the whatever in between. It's so painful. If anybody's ever had that, I mean, like I said, coughing and sneezing and sitting up are tough chores, let alone training and fighting. But this is, and it kind of goes to what Tyrone was just saying. It's like, unfortunately, in this sport, you can't handpick, and everything isn't perfect. You can't say, well, I know what's right for me and what I want next, because you don't know how things are going to go. Like this Vitor Belfort situation. He's ready for the title. Now he decides not to fight Machida. Well, what if something else goes wrong with Weidman and he's out longer? He has to fight. My advice is always take every fight you can get, take every opportunity you can get, and make as much money as you can get.
And Vitor will definitely not fight.
I'm not saying that's definite. It's Vitor. We'll see what happens. We're giving him one more option.
Dana.
Yep.
Sorry, over here.
Hey.
How's it going? You talked about John not being allowed to fight at flyweight anymore. Does the same go for Kelvin? Because he's had weight problems.
John not being allowed to what?
Or to fight at flyweight anymore. Does the same go for Gastelum, who's had?
Yeah, Gastelum's a 185-pounder now.
Okay. Right on. And then a lot of people had assumed that the winner of John's fight would get a shot at Demetrius. What do you do with that division now if he's sort of out of the
Yeah, this is an unfortunate turn of circumstances. This guy looked impressive tonight. He looked really good. And he beat a real tough guy. So,
And then Misha, you had said before the fight that you weren't sure a win would be enough to get you a title shot. After your performance today, do you feel like you can get in their ear a little bit about fighting for the belt?
I suppose it depends who wins, If it's Ronda, obviously I think I have a little bit more work to do. If it's Kat, I think a better argument could be made. We'll see who wins out of those two. But I've already told everyone that I'm willing to do what it takes to get back to that. I'm not asking for it right now. I'm not asking for any handouts. I'm willing to put my nose to the grindstone. I'm willing to beat all the other top contenders until I am the only option left, if that's what I have to do.
Cool. All right. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Karen.
I had a question for Thiago. Just how did it feel to be back? And you got, rocked certainly. He's obviously a tough fight for you. Just curious how you feel about your comeback here and about the victory.
It feels great. In the first round, it took me a little bit to get warmed up. And, but in the second round, my coach told me just go out there and you're going to have to make a dirty fight. You got to take the fight to him, and that's what I did.
How difficult has it been for you to stay positive, all the ups and downs, a lot of downs, obviously, in your career? How have you been able to stay positive?
Well, just, focus in the moment. I know what I want, and I keep working hard. And just focus on what I want to accomplish. And there's not much you can do. Unfortunately, in the fight business, you're as good as your last fight. So you always got to try to be your best every day and perform at your best. And that's what I did tonight.
Okay. And Misha, real quick, how are you feeling? Are you feeling, physically okay after this fight?
I have a really bad headache right now. She clipped me pretty good in the first round and actually broke my orbital bone in 2 spots. So I can't look down, and this bright light over here is not very comfortable, to say the least. But I don't know. She's as tough as they come, and she can pack a punch. That's for sure. But I'm happy emotionally, but physically, I definitely am not feeling so hot right now.
And how long?
I just got back from the hospital.
Yeah. How long did they say that you have to, not train?
They said broken bones, 4 to 6 weeks takes to heal. So, yeah, I know it doesn't look bad, but it feels pretty crappy.
Just
All right.
before you let Al
Yep.
go, is that cool? Before you dismiss everybody, I just want to ask Al real quick, get his thoughts. Obviously, a big win for you tonight. You're on a nice roll right now. How did you feel about your performance this season?
I felt good, man. I don't know who I got to beat to get a bonus around here, but I'll keep doing it. I'll keep training hard. I'm the hardest training guy in this, division. So I'm going to keep whooping ass, and eventually I'll get that bonus. Don't worry about it.
And obviously, I mean, this is your second kind of name guy in a row that you've beaten. What do you think makes sense for you at this time? I mean, still early in your UFC career, but you've racked up some big wins.
Top 15. We're going to Mexico. I'm going to learn Spanish. So all the senoritas are going to love me. It's going to be good.
All right. That does it for me.
All right, I'm going to let these guys go. Anderson Silva will be here in seconds. He's actually was coming up the elevator earlier. Guys, you can get out of here. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. So I'm not going to mediate this thing. We'll just set Anderson up here, and you guys can fire away at him.
Dana, can I get a quick question before?
Yeah.
Just wondering, last weekend, we missed you in Stockholm.
Talk louder. What'd you say? I'm deaf.
Last
There you
weekend,
go.
we missed you in Stockholm. A huge stadium show, 30,000 seats filled. Just wondering if we could get your overall sort of impressions of the event.
Stockholm was awesome, man. Awesome. Obviously not the greatest ending for Stockholm, but it was an amazing event. The crowd was incredible. The everything. It looked amazing on TV. Yeah, Stockholm's awesome, man.
And just one more follow-up. Gustafsson obviously lost, knockout in the first round. A lot of fans online have been campaigning for a fight between him and Daniel Cormier. I was wondering if that's something that interests you, if that makes sense?
It does interest me. Cormier's got another fight set up right now, and we actually have another fight for Gustafsson, too. So after those guys...
Nothing you can shed any light on?
No, not right now.
All right.
But after those two fight, these fights, it makes sense.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Can I ask?
Rashad? I think Rashad's hurt. Rashad's hurt. Somebody ask me a question again?
Sorry, Dana, it's me over here again. I've just got to be the typical Canadian. Any updates on Calgary?
Calgary, no. Maybe, but not that I'm aware of right this second. Yeah. I hope we do. Dave? Is it what? At 170? And Henderson. Colorado at 170, yeah. That's a 5-round fight. Yeah. They, Ben Henderson has been terrorizing Joe Silva for a 170-pound fight if one popped up, and this one popped up, so he took it, and, that's the main event. Yep. Predictions? I predict that the Patriots are going to win, and, there's no doubt Seattle's a tough team. They got a great defense. I wish we were playing Green Bay instead, but we're playing Seattle, and I think, I feel good about it. After we win, Brady will go down as the greatest quarterback ever. No matter how bad you want to hate on him, it can't be denied. Deal with it. Buffalo Bills guy, what's up?
Yeah, both of us, I think.
I called GSP. I did ask GSP if he wanted to fight in that fight. He said, I haven't even started training yet, Dana. Yeah, I think anything's possible. I mean, if George St. Pierre wanted that fight, I would definitely make that fight. I'm sure Anderson would too. What's up, buddy? It's all right. He looks damn good.
Anderson, obviously, congratulations on the victory tonight. A big night for you after the injury and having to come back and all that you went through. with 5 rounds in the book, how did you feel about your performance? Was that, you at your best, or did you have any concerns? Evaluate yourself tonight, please.
Depois de 5 rounds, como é que você avalia a sua performance? Você achou no seu melhor estado? O que você achou?
Olha, eu acho que os meus treinadores estão de parabéns, né? Eu queria agradecer a todos eles. Eu acho que toda a equipe está de parabéns. Os meus fisioterapeutas que trabalharam muito para que eu pudesse vir aqui e dar esse espetáculo que a gente deu. A gente sabia que era uma luta difícil, uma luta que foi como vocês viram, né? Difícil.
I have to thank all my trainers and everyone in my team, all my physical therapists who helped me be here throughout the year. And we knew it was going to be a difficult fight, and that's what you saw. It was a difficult fight.
Early on, obviously Nick was taunting, and it looked like you were kind of getting into having a little taunt back with him, and then it seemed like around the 3rd round you kind of stopped that and went to a more traditional game plan. Was that something his coaches advised to change, or did he make that decision, I can't get into this type of fight?
Ele no início estava brincando com você e parecia que estava brincando de volta, e aí no 3º round você meio que parou e ficou mais sério. Foi uma coisa que você decidiu ou os corners falaram?
Não, em nenhum momento eu estava brincando, eu estava lutando sério. Eu acho que durante todos esses anos que vocês me viram lutando aqui, vocês viram a verdade. E hoje foi a mesma coisa, não deixou de ser verdade. A única coisa que mudou é que eu estava mais focado e escutando tudo que os meus corners estavam falando e fazendo tudo que eu treinei.
I wasn't playing at any moment. I was serious, and that's what you saw. And throughout the years, all you see is the truth. And tonight was the truth, and I did exactly what I trained to do.
And after both of the losses to Chris, there was no doubt. You said, I'm going to be back. Even after the terrible injury, you said, I'm going to fight again. You'll see me again. Tonight was the first time I've heard you say, I don't know, maybe. My family says no, I got to talk. Is there any possibility this is the last chance that we'll ever see you fight?
Mesmo depois das lutas do Weidman, você falou que ia voltar. Hoje foi a primeira vez que você meio que falou que tinha que ver com a família, que você não sabia. Tem alguma possibilidade que você não voltará?
So when I finish, I go back to room and I go call you to my family. So my son Khalil say, Dad, congratulations, but done. Back to home, please. No more fight. So this is my son. I need you to talk to my family. I love my job. This is me. I love fight, but I need you to talk to my family because this is more important in my life now.
If this is the last time that we see you fight, can you walk away saying you accomplished everything you wanted? Can you walk away happy if you never fight again?
Se essa for a última vez de verdade que a gente estiver lutando, você pode sair feliz com tudo que você fez?
Yeah, absolutely. But I go talk to my family. I don't talk to my son. I don't say for my family, I go stop. I need you to talk to my family because I love my job. I love UFC, and when my son talked to me, I'm a little scared. I talked to Ed. So Ed, now why the next step? So Ed say, relax, go back to home, talk to your family, and done.
Hey, Anderson, right here in front of you. Congratulations on the win. Can you talk about just what it felt like to be in the octagon again? And you seemed very serious tonight. And in previous performances, you were almost jovial. It seemed like tonight it seemed like you were on a mission. Was there a difference in the way you felt in competition tonight as opposed to previous fights?
Fala como é que foi a sensação de entrar no octógono hoje. Você sempre estava muito feliz. Hoje você parecia que estava numa missão, estava muito sério. Teve alguma mudança?
Eu estava feliz. Estava muito feliz. I'm very happy. So, yeah, this is my mission. My coach say, you have the mission tonight. You need to win. You need to win because you people in Brazil waiting for this. You need to win. This is your mission.
Would you say you enjoyed yourself during the fight? Because it seemed like, after the result was read, you fell down, you cried. I mean, was it like a weight off your shoulders, or did you enjoy yourself while you were fighting Nick tonight?
Você se divertiu? Você gostou de ali? Foi peso que você tirou das costas?
Yeah, absolutely. For one year I don't fight. I broke my leg and I training hard for this moment, and I think my team have the great times. I need to say thank you, guys. Thank you. I love you. Yeah.
And then last question for me, it sounds like obviously you need to talk to your family, you talk to Ed, you talk to your team, you talk to everybody around you, but you personally, is fighting still something that you really want to do? Just if it was completely up to you and nobody else?
Fora você falar com todo mundo, com a família, com o Ed, lutar é uma coisa que você ainda quer fazer, independente de todo mundo?
Yes, I love my job. I love fighting, but I need to talk to my family. My son talked to me, serious. When I talk to my son cry, Dad, stop, please. Back home, please. Stop. You don't need more fight, please. So I need you to talk to my family. I talk serious now.
Anderson, here, right in front of you, please. Over here to your right. Right here.
Sorry.
What your family has expressed to you for a while that they wanted you to quit, I understand. What is it that they object to? The fact that you're away training, or they're worried about your health? What specifically is their concern about you fighting?
Sua família já fala há um tempo que quer que você pare. Qual o medo? O que eles não querem que você faça? O treino, o medo de se machucar? Qual o problema?
I don't know. I talk to my family all the time. For when I starting, I remember my first fight, my mom say, "Why you fight? You crazy? No. You go to the cop, the same your dad, the same your brothers." You say, "Mom, this is more danger." But this is the family. All families say all the time this.
Does that weigh on you when the fact that you know they don't want you to do this? Is it difficult for you then to do it anyways? You say you love to fight, but is it difficult to disappoint them and make them worry about you?
Isso é uma coisa que pesa em você. Você, claro que ama lutar, mas é difícil você fazer uma coisa que eles não querem que você faça.
Yeah, absolutely. When I talk to my son cry, and yeah, it's very difficult for me now.
How old is he?
17.
17.
Yeah.
Two other questions, if I could. Nick Diaz has now lost 3 fights in a row, and he lost against George St. Pierre 5-0 on all 3 cards, and to you, 2 of them were 5-0. Do you think he still is good enough to be a top-level contender? You spent 25 minutes in the octagon with him. What would you say to him? Do you feel like he can be a contender in the UFC, given what you saw of him tonight?
O Nick Diaz, essa é a terceira luta consecutiva que ele perde, a segunda que ele perde todos os rounds. Você acha que ele é no desafiante no UFC? O que você diria para ele?
I respect Nick. Nick is the great opponent, and I fight for a long time in here in UFC. It's the first time in my life I have the big opponent for fight. I respect Nick. Nick is the great fight tonight. I need to say thank you, Nick, because it's the great test for me.
And then lastly, I found it a little bit unusual. You show such respect for your corner and everybody. When the fight ended, you went to John Jones. And can you explain why you decided to go over and embrace John Jones?
Você mostrou muito respeito pelos seus corners e todo mundo, mas no final da luta você foi abraçar o John Jones. Explica isso um pouco.
Jones is my friend, so I talk to Jones all the time. He's young. I have all the people talk. Oh, John Jones, this, but all the people and have problems. I have problems. All the people here have problems, and the problems in the world is the people like to talk for all the people. Oh, this guy is bad. Blah blah blah. This guy is bad, but it's not bad. I think it's the next level for Jones is very important. When I talk to Jones, I say, bro, I like you, bro. You need to change because all the kids watching you, the family watching you, we need you stop. You're too young. You're the best fight now. We need you to change everything. That's it. This is my friend. I need your help, my friend, my real friends. I talk to my family, my old family is here, my coach, my partners, and my real friends, my real family is here. All the times my friends talk to me, Anderson, why this? Why this and this and this? So I need you to talk to my friend.
Anderson, welcome back. Phoenix, over here. Hi. I just wanted to ask you, I know that you love boxing very much and you've always wanted to test yourself as a boxer. Do you feel that you got some of that with Nick Diaz? Você adora boxe, você sempre quis se testar no boxe. Você acha que você teve pouquinho disso hoje à noite com o Nick Diaz?
I talked in Portuguese, okay?
Sure.
Mais ou menos, mais ou menos.
Mais ou menos. I understood that part.
So.
Anderson, a few months ago, did you feel like you could only get over what happened at UFC 168 if you came back to this arena and won? And now that it's over, do you feel like you can finally put what happened in that cage 13 months ago behind you?
Alguns meses atrás você pensava que a única maneira de esquecer o que aconteceu na última luta foi entrando aqui? E você acha agora isso?
Yeah.
Now it's over.
Now it's over.
I think a lot of people would agree that the one fight that you've been linked to that never happened was the GSP fight that I mentioned earlier. Do you have any interest in that at all?
Você ainda tem algum interesse em lutar com o GSP? É uma luta que todo mundo fala há muito tempo.
I need you back to my home, talk to my family and my sons, my wife, and it's just the difficult decision because you have a son?
2.
Yeah. You understand me, no? Yeah, it's very difficult.
You keep mentioning your one son, Khalil, the 17-year-old who was crying, who said, what about your other kids? Because you have other kids. What do they say about your career?
Gabriel said that for me, that's okay because I go fight boxing. He said, what? No, please, no. But Khalil and Kaori and Kawan and João say, Dad, stop, no more.
Yeah. And one other question. Do you have an idea in your mind? Do you think you'll need 6 months, a year, 2 months to make this decision? Do you have any kind of idea?
Quanto tempo você acha que você vai precisar para fazer essa decisão?
I don't know. I have a lot of work in here. I go to the Ultimate Fighting coaching, me and Shogun, and my family's come to here. I go talk to my family and my partners, Ed and Joinha, and my old family, my team, and I go change my decision. I don't know. I go talk to my family first.
Guys, we're going to take 2 more. One here and then one from John Morgan. Okay. Anderson, I will make in Portuguese. Anderson, eu queria que você explicasse pouco da sua emoção, do seu choro ali. O que pesou ali mais na hora? Foi o psicológico? Era peso que estava saindo? Ou foi mais físico mesmo naquele momento? Veio tudo, inclusive a sua família?
Acho que a emoção, né? Depois de 1 ano, depois de tudo que eu passei, acho que quem acompanhou tudo que eu passei assim durante esse 1 ano, a recuperação, as dores, eu acho que aquele momento ali eu estava super emocionado, ainda estou, né, emocionado, e dei graças a Deus que deu tudo certo e agradecer a todas as pessoas que se deram 100% para que isso pudesse acontecer da forma que aconteceu, né? Então, mais uma vez eu queria agradecer a todos os meus treinadores, os meus amigos de verdade, as pessoas que estão comigo há muito tempo, direto ou indiretamente, porque eles fizeram com que isso acontecesse hoje.
The question is regarding the emotions at the end there with the crying and everything, and he says that it was a culmination of a year of hard work and a lot of pain and a lot of rehabilitation, and he has to thank everyone that was in his camp and all his true friends and everyone that made it possible for him to be here tonight.
Just a quick follow-up if I could. It kind of touches on that, but after the decision was read and the cage started to clear, you went back to the center of the octagon and kneeled in the center of the octagon and kind of took a moment. Can you tell us what was going through your head at that exact moment?
O que passou na sua cabeça ali naquele momento no centro do octógono?
Eu só estava agradecendo a Deus por ter me dado toda a sabedoria para me guiar e me dar força para que eu pudesse fazer o que eu tinha que fazer e colocar em prática o que os meus treinadores me treinaram para fazer. Então, só tenho a agradecer a Deus por tudo, até por todos vocês estarem aqui hoje.
I was only thanking God for giving me the wisdom to go and pursue what I wanted to do and put in practice everything that I trained, and I can only thank God for you guys being here tonight.
Thank you, Anderson.
Thank you, guys.
Guys, Nick Diaz is going to be joining us fresh off the stitch table. Give me about 5 minutes for that, okay?
Questions for Black Dana? No? No questions? Okay, the next fight is I think I put in the next fight for the belt. I don't know. Sorry, I don't know. Bye.
All right, guys. Nick's going to take a few questions here. We asked them to come up here after a great 5-round fight. We'll start with Kevin Iole.
First of all, any serious injury other than the stitches? Did you have any broken bones or anything?
No, but before I had a little injury before the fight with my left arm. I had to get a cortisone shot, and I stopped throwing punches like about 2 weeks before the fight. I've never done that. I didn't really throw punches in the warm-up last couple of days. I didn't cut weight with throwing punches, so I wasn't in gear to throw punches, and I knew I was in big trouble. That's why you see me go for the takedown, because I know I could be more effective by going on top one time. And I figured, maybe he's not expecting me to go on top real quick, so I might just land that, and I could do something significant. But I think all the power shots that were thrown, like punching-wise, I could see everything coming that he hit me with. Popped me real quick with the jab. Of course, I think he's right-handed, so he's got a little bit of power on that jab if he throws it right. And opened up a little cut here under my eye. And then I barely got grazed with that little whip kick, the one that I think he was throwing that in a fight with Weidman. But I barely got grazed with that one. I think that's what did me up top a little bit. But other than that, I was moving forward best I could without having my rhythm together like I have in previous fights. Just had a little issues with my trainer. As far as that goes, though, but with my punching and my arm here, it was actually locking up on me, and I couldn't punch with it. When I came out to fight, it wasn't an issue, but I was worried that it was going to be, because every time I throw a punch in the last couple of days, it would lock up and it would stick. So here's my arm straight, like that, and then here's how it would stick, like this. And I was like, what the hell is going on? So I went and saw Anderson's doctor that fixed his leg. Someone said, I think Reed set me up with, someone set me up with Anderson's doctor. And I went in there and saw him, and they took an x-ray. I said, yeah, I think maybe you have some bone spur, like some bone fragments in there or something. And I'm like, it feels like I got some tendons caught up and I can't straighten it. And I feels like if I try to punch through that, it's going to tear something and swell up. So I didn't want to punch, or whatever it was going to be. I could tell that last time I tried to punch through it, I was like, ooh, and so I knew it was going to probably swell up, so I had to wait. I couldn't really throw my punches until the fight, because I figured if it was going to tear something or pull something, I'd have to just get through it in the fight. I don't want to do it before the fight, have it swell up on me and go out there with nothing. So.
Nick, two questions then. Will you need surgery on it? Did Dr. Saunders tell you that? And then secondly, once you get recovered, do you still want to fight? Do you want to come back? And what kind of plan would you have about who you would want to fight given what's happened in the last couple of fights?
I don't know much about surgeries and arm surgeries. That's all I really heard out of your question there about the arm stuff. But yeah, but yeah, he said that we could go in there and do surgery and take something out of there and something like that. But I haven't really looked into too much of doing. I'm not really into having surgeries, so I don't know. We'll have to see about that. If I'm not punching anybody, then why do I need surgery?
Nick, obviously, you were very respectful of Anderson Silva all week long and praising him as a fighter. It seemed like he was very hesitant to engage you tonight, though. Were you disappointed at all in what seemed like kind of a lack of a willingness to want to come forward and put on the fight it seemed like you wanted to put on?
Yeah, I kind of lose my shit in there when people do that, so I think he probably knows that. Yeah, but I could see his punches coming a mile away. The more he punched, the more he was gonna end up with the shit end of the stick. So he wasn't gonna punch or anything. Not that he worries about punching in all his fights. What I watched, But I really think I come in with a straight right to the body, and I was really gonna put it together off of that. He grabbed my head and I started pumping elbows in. I haven't watched the fight, but I remember every time I did throw a straight right to the body. A straight left to the body. I think it was. I was switching around a little bit. Either way, as soon as I throw that straight to the body, he was going to grab my head, and I broke out of there and started hitting him with elbows and punches. So, that would have worked out for me, but I was hesitant to do that on my way out to the fight. Usually my trainer's like, he's screaming at me. Sometimes I'm like, why are you, like, it's a bad idea. But then I realized, man, it was probably a good idea because I would have been, having to throw something for him. And I would have trained that. I would have trained those combinations in this last couple of weeks here. I think I could have been more successful with that straight right to the body, coming back with the left hook. Or, when I was switching it up. So either way, straight right, come back with the hook. Because he's going to try to grab my head, and I was going to win, get the better of that situation every time, in my opinion. And, there's a couple things I regret, like, whipping kicks out there and fooling around the first round, because I'm sure the judges don't like that. I don't know I don't know how people feel about it either. I don't even know how I feel about it when I don't watch the fight. I don't know if people are like, yeah, I had you on these rounds. I don't know what the judges are thinking. Or I know how I feel at the end of the fight. I'm like, well, I don't know what the judges are thinking, but I'm like, I definitely pushed forward the whole time. So I don't know. I don't know how they judge fights sometimes, because nowadays they're adding scoring, and sometimes they go like, oh, damage, and sometimes they go, oh, this guy did more work. It's like a whole new ball game right now in this last couple of years. But I've been in here for at least 12 years or so, where it's a whole different story. That's why I was even spouting off. For some reason, I always spout off about Sean Shirk because, I think I got the takedown in that fight, got more punches and moved around. But he worked harder and threw a lot. And they're like, oh, well, the judges like that because he, kind of like right in front of your face. I'm like, that's all I did. It was nothing hit me. I was like, hey. And, I think I could have won that fight. I think I did win that fight, but same with a lot of fights. But I get real confused on how to win a fight out here initially. And then nowadays, you can see when you watch that they're counting strikes and doing all that stuff. So I don't know what was what until I see it. I don't know how many punches were thrown, landed, or what, but I just know that, I could see this guy's punches. He didn't, I don't think he could have finished me. I think if anybody was going to finish anybody, it was going to be me finishing him. But the thing is like, I just, the only way he's going to do a finish on me is if I come in doing something stupid. So, on account of that, I think I stayed back a little bit more than I should have. And, on account of not having my trainer help me put my punches together, I think I know he's sitting at home going, see, that's because I wasn't there. And it's like, yeah, I know. I pretty much, saw myself sitting here, with that mindset. Like, what's my trainer thinking right now? Because he's, it's like, see what happens. You didn't bring me along, But I love my trainer, and And it's just things have been rough, you know. When you get older and real money starts coming out into this, it's like it's hard to work these things out and organize these things, you know. But I was lucky to have a you know, an excellent team behind me. My agent Lloyd Pearson, and you know, Cesar Gracie, he always comes through for me no matter what. And you know, Lloyd and James and the whole Ballinger group thing, they really, you know, came through. My friend Frank Hurley, you know, I was running around out here one day, met him and put me through with the right people, and that I met on my own. You know, I couldn't really. People were trying to pitch different management teams towards me, and I'm like, I pretty much need to do this on my own. But I was more than happy with the deal we got and how it worked out and the things I learned, and I'm really appreciative of all the people that did stand, all the, you know, the new people that were standing by me and what I had to work with. I really appreciate it. So, yeah.
Nick, I know that it's still fresh right now, and you've got some thinking to do, but you know, you've got kind of a love-hate relationship with this sport. As you sit there right now, do you feel like this is something that you want to do again, or, you know, with all the difficulties you had and all the struggles to get here, do you feel like maybe it's not for you?
Yeah, no, you know, it's just really crazy, you know, coming out here and I'm kind of tired of being a loser, you know. I've been still here, but I'm losing all these fights. It's just, you know, I'm doing well though. Versus, I mean, as far as this being a job, but I mean, versus the other guys that are out here. So yeah, I'm happy to, you know, I guess it's, you know, I put on a show for these fans. So I don't know what to make of it right now. But I don't know what people think either. I don't know how you guys saw the fight. I don't know if you guys are sitting there like, yeah, he thinks he won. Or how stupid. You know what I mean? Like, how does he think he won? I'm like, well, you know, it's one thing, like, you know, you sit there and you try to get a guy on the scorecards, you try to get the knockout, you know. You win like that, you win with the knockout. I just never try to beat somebody on the scorecards. It's never happened. It's just not in me, I don't think. And I'm real quick to just criticize somebody for even going there. I'm like, are you doing this really? Are you really gonna not try and finish this fight and do this fight? You're gonna do another fight where it's moving around? You know, I have a lot of respect. You know, you see me out here and try to intimidate this dude leading up to the fight or anything like that. You know, maybe that could have won me the fight. He stayed the hell away from me the first round. When I came out, flipped the switch on him and started saying, you know, I'm not coming out to touch gloves with anybody. I've been shake hands before the fight. Shit, I mean, as long as everybody's straight up, then everybody's straight up. You know, nobody's stepping out of line. And we shake hands before the fight too. You know, of course, you know, if somebody steps out of line, we ain't shaking hands until after the fight. So, I mean, you know, bump a fist or nothing. Why am I do that? Is it gonna make the fans happy? No. It's gonna make Dana White happy? No. It ain't gonna make me happy either if I lose the fight. So it's just a different mentality about fighting sometimes, I think.
We'll take one more from Ariel.
Nick, the last time we were in this setting at a post-fight press conference, it was in Montreal after the GSP fight, and you know, you talked about some of the issues that you were having outside of fighting and, you know, trying to get your life in order. If this is the last time you fight again, do you feel a lot more comfortable? Do you feel like things are more settled around you?
Yeah, well, you know, I've left options open for myself best I could, you know, on account of doing this. So I've invested a lot more than a lot of people that I know it's hard to understand for a lot of people that I've done something like that. I'd like to say hard work pays off on one end. On the other end, you know, I look like shit out here fighting. And when they put those clips together, they're not going to show none of my punches. They're not going to show any of them. They're going to, you know, find whatever they can find that happened out there on the other end of it, and they're going to throw that up. And you know, it's not good to see. It doesn't feel good to see that. You know, it doesn't feel good to try to argue with somebody that thinks, like, you know, has their opinion, and you know, and I'm just having to avoid too many arguments. I'm like, you know, so I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, man, hopefully I wish I could just fall off. Yeah, people stop talking about me, but I feel like that's just not happening. I don't know if I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just that's how it seems from my end, but I can't tell you.
Thank you, Nick. Thanks, everybody.